Nice.
Hello and welcome back to The Economy Lately. I'm Anthony Smith, Chief Economist here at FreightWaves, and I'm joined by South Turk, the magic that makes this show happen. That's you.
Yeah, just like Fantasia.
I've seen that one.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen a lot of Disney, but that's one I've seen.
Yeah.
I respect that movie.
Oh, okay. There you
I respect you, man.
Oh, all right. Well, I respect you too. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of our viewers that have been sticking with us for 14 episodes now.
14 episodes.
Didn't think this was going to last this long, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we got to kick off this show, and at the time of this recording, there's not a lot of updates that have come out just yet. It's really going to start heating up around Friday, but there are still a lot of trends that we can talk to, and we're going to start it off upstream with durable goods orders, which just came out not too long ago, showing that overall there was a flat trend at 0% monthly movement. Other outliers for the report were computer and parts was up over 3%, and some other subsidiary segments that were just kind of varying around the 1 to 1.5%. But overall, what we care about is going to be non-defense capital goods new orders, because that's going to be an indication of business to business activity. Now, this was an area that did have some activity, some still positiveness, but it was below 1%. We are seeing that there is some easing happening for non-defense capital goods new orders. Overall capital spending did increase up 3.6%. But one of the things that we have to come back to was why we care about these durable good orders in the first place. Of course, orders can get canceled, but orders typically lead to production. Then that production leads to shipments, and shipments means freight. The next big segment that we have to jump into is going to be new home sales, which had a pretty nasty drop this month, down 12.6% for the month. And on a year-over-year basis, we saw that there was a 29.6% decline. It's really bad. South, this is indeed the lowest level since 2016.
2016?
Yeah. What were you doing in 2016?
Well, like for a week or two, I worked at the White House, but we don't really have to talk about that.
What'd you do at the White House?
It's not really important.
What were you doing?
Just nothing.
I think I was living in New Hampshire in 2016.
Oh yeah, what were you doing in New Hampshire?
I think it's just being toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've learned to accept and own that, possibly.
I embrace it.
But let's move on.
Yeah, so new home sales.
New home sales.
Speaking of houses, new home sales, they're not in the best of places right now. I mean, we're looking at new home sales. There's not a lot of sturdy foundation from them. When you look at, okay, where is going to be the demand from new home sales? It's going to be consumers, of course, like you, me, and South, who is moving out and abandoning us all.
What? Who told you this? Where did you learn this?
I saw the paperwork, South.
Oh, no.
So when we look at new home sales, these consumers aren't going to be in the best of positions. When you're looking at job security, that's going to be a big one that's going to really influence purchasing a house. And when we're looking at job security, there's a lot of layoffs happening throughout the entire country. Good news is that a lot of folks are able to find jobs pretty quickly. I don't really see this happening for too much longer, but right now it's still a good sign because consumers can get right back on their feet if something were to happen. The other big thing is, of course, mortgage rates. Those are going up, and so are home prices. And then this is really impacting the home affordability. Just something as small as like a $2,000 increase in a home can really cut out a large portion of the population from making a home purchase. And so that's something to kind of take into consideration when you can look at mortgage approvals and things like that. We also care about home purchases and new home sales because there's downstream impacts to it as well. You move into a new house, maybe you don't want the same old furniture, maybe you do, but maybe you want new appliances, new electronics. Those also get impacted because they have to be moved by freight. And there's a lot of other things that go into this as well. We're looking at home renovations, things like this. These are all durable goods that have to get transferred by freight and the supply chain. So this is going to be one that we watch closely. And really, when we look at the trends, there's not a lot of
tailwinds
really kind of suggesting that there's going to be any kind of substantial upward movement or relief here in the near future in the coming months.
You know, if I sold mortgages, I'd change my name to Morgan, so they call me Mortgage Morgan Turk.
The next big update that we have coming out this week, not at the time of this recording, but once this recording comes out, it's going to be fresh off the press, and that's going to be personal consumption expenditures, or more plainly put, consumer spending. Now, when we look at this report from the BEA, there's going to be also other set of subcomponents that are going to be very significant to watch out for, because we're also going to get updates around not just consumer spending, but personal income and disposable income. Of course, there will be implications around this for freight, especially when we look at consumer spending on durable goods that must be transported by freight, but also that disposable income. That's going to be a pretty significant part. How many times have I said significant in this video?
Not enough.
It's going to be like a drinking game.
Yeah.
A significant drinking game.
Yeah.
Turn it into a drinking game. It's fine. Stay hydrated, folks.
Yeah, it's only like 10:20 in the morning on a Friday.
Started early.
You're right.
Or maybe it's late. Maybe I've been up all night.
You're right.
Who sleeps? Yeah, don't need sleep. Whatever. Everyone that's ever slept has died.
You're right. Everyone has.
Yeah.
But everyone who hasn't slept never existed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One of the big things I have to be mindful of for this report is going to be around nominal versus real. Remember, a few videos ago, we talked about nominal and what's real. Real is going to be really adjusted for inflation, and that's going to be a concerning trend of inflation. That's really been impacting a lot of folks. But disposable income has also been very much impactful because that's waning, and it's concerning because when we look at disposable income, that's essentially showing the spending power of the U.S. consumer. And as we look at it lately, there's been a lot of spending being put on credit card when we look at revolving credit card utilization. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything is okay because we're not in a recession, right, Sal?
Yeah.
That's what they tell us. Brought to you by the same folks that brought us classic hits like inflation is transitory.
Oh, yeah.
That aged well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a long way to go in the second half of 2022, and I'll be right here by your side. But before I let you go for this episode, we have some honorable mentions. Of course, this week is going to have initial jobless claims. It eased a little bit last week in the 250s, and that's a good sign. I would want to see this at 250 and below, but I'm not really too sure that that's going to hold or really be indicative of a trend of ongoing downward movement for the employment market. Speaking of the employment market, next week, we're getting updates around job opening, the quit rate, payrolls numbers, and really unemployment overall, because that's going to be a really big one. And we also have updates around ISM, which is going to have implications for manufacturing. And South, that means one thing.
Yes! What the?
Got to work it in somehow. See you guys later.